Hey folks, it is Vince the Evil DM. I'm back with another episode of RailGuns and Dragons. We are moving along into the High Seas book now, as we did the overview and thoughts the last time, and finally recovered fully from having COVID, so I'm no longer coughing in the middle of videos. It was really a pain in the butt, so be careful out there. So it's not fun, I can tell you that. It's not fun. But anyway, enough about my personal life here. I just want to get right into the game here, RailGuns and Dragons. Palladium Open House is coming very soon as well. That's in April. Hopefully some people out there who watch this series channel is going to Palladium Open House. Let me know. We can meet up, hang out, have a beer, whatever. Chat a little bit or something like that. It'd be fun. It's been my first time going, so I'm looking forward to the experience and seeing what it's all about. I always like meeting the creators and people behind books like this, like Palladium and stuff like that. I just want to meet all the people, say hi to everybody, see what we can get there. You know, it's a fun experience, I was told. So figured I would try it at least once, see how it is, and maybe make it a reoccurring thing. Who knows? Anyway, my group and I are still running Fantasy, Palladium Fantasy 1E. You can get that at rollhighordie.com, and any podcasting app out there pretty much can facilitate it for you. Just look for the Palladium Megaverse podcast by Roll High or Die. You can see it there. And we did Dead Rain, Heroes Unlimited, and now we're doing Fantasy 1E. So check those all out. 3 seasons of good actual play fun. But anyway, let's head on to what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Gladiator. And before we get into this, on page 15, of the book. Well, it actually starts on 14, but it talks about the gladiator and the arena, and how the gladiator he's a fighter, but he's trained to entertain while he fights. A gladiator is meant to show off abilities, make others look good, show off his ability to fall to the ground, make someone else look better, dodge the lions, things like that. He's an entertainer more than he is a fighter. He can fight, by all means, he could fight, but he's more of an entertainer while doing it, because a gladiator entertains the people around the arena. So that's his job. So you don't really like getting into all these battles that are, serious, because you want to be more of a entertainer while you're doing that. But it goes into how the gladiator class gives you a little bit about their background and how they're possibly slaves, and you could probably generate a pretty decent story from this right here by reading this, and how you have a promoter and how you go from place to place it's kind of like a wrestler almost, if you think about it, and how they entertain people. The Gladiator, I think, would be a pretty cool class to have in your game, because you can definitely say that you escaped and you're on the run and you're learning a new lifestyle, and maybe you have that thing hanging over your head. And the GM can come up with a really cool backstory with these people that are after you, and you're always on the run, and there's always that threat. And maybe the party that you've hooked up with for the adventure has to help you out and help defend you against these people, because, you need to get out of this slavery and this gladiatorial mindset, and you need to be a free person. So it's pretty interesting what the backstory is. So give that a read. And they do mention Hulk Hogan in here, which I thought made me laugh, because, when this was written, obviously wrestling was huge. Hulk Hogan was the big name around. So things like that. So the gladiators are trained fighters. They have learned the skills of soldiers, mercenaries, and assassins, yet they are also entertainers, like I was saying in the beginning. They do it with style. Their sword strokes just aren't accurate. They're just dramatic. They have the ability to kill on command without an issue. They have to make it look good, make it look bad. They are able to do that. So they're usually provided kind of like light equipment. They don't really, if you've noticed gladiatorial movies and if you've seen battles from recreations and things like that, most gladiators have some armor on. There are some that are really armored up, but then there's some that just usually have like little bits of armor, and those are the ones that are usually the winners. Alignment, usually gladiators are anything but a good character. They are on principle, anarchist, miscreant, or an aberrant type alignment. That's not to say that you can't be a good alignment. It just says they're most likely not to make a career as a professional gladiator with a good alignment. So it's up to you and your GM how you want to handle that and the backstory. They view armor as more of costumes than protection. The type and the color is used as a sort of a uniform that allows the crowd to tell the different fighters apart, much like wrestlers or boxers or things like that. They have different uniforms. Hockey teams, things like that. They all have different uniforms to indicate, hey, that's my guy down there. So they will rarely ever wear a full suit of armor unless it's leather. So you're kind of... However you want to read this, it's telling you they most likely work to wear arm shields, light chain vests, half suits of scale mail, splint, and plate and chain are also used. Half suits provide maximum protection of limbs while allowing maximum maneuverability. Like I said, they will never really use a full suit of armor just unless it's leather. So now you can read that a couple ways. That is a restriction, and they don't wear that, or they can wear that, but they're just not really that comfortable in it. So it's kind of up to the GM how he wants to read that off there. Again, this is 1E we're looking at, not 2E, before anybody starts saying anything. There are some requirements for the class: the IQ of 8, a PS 11, PE of 10, and a PP of 12. The skills you get off the bat are hand-to-hand Gladiator, which is right here on the right. We'll get over that in a minute. And weapon efficiency: short sword, spear, fork, small shield, and large shield. You get 5 elective skills at 1, and 2 at 3, and 2 at 5, blah, 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 blah. You can read that there. Choose secondary skills 6 at level 1, then you get 2. You don't really get a lot more skills as you level up with this particular class, which is maybe a little bit of an off-put to some people, because there's not much growability for the class, so to speak. It really depends on how you play it and how you look at it. Now, your elective skills: disguise, horsemanship, identify tracks, medical, pickpocket, scale walls, trap, skin animals, use poison. Obviously use poison because you are not a good person. And weapon efficiencies, you can pick anyone as long as it's not a longbow, short bow, or a crossbow. Secondary skills: dance, because you're an entertainer. Imitate voices, play wind instruments, recognize poison, recognize weapon quality, sing, speak additional language, and sign language as your thing. Some of them give you bonuses, some of them do not. 2081 is your second level, so it's pretty high up there compared to the rest of them. Now, going over the hand-to-hand Gladiator, you get a +3 to parry only at first level. So you're a little bit further along than some of the classes, but a Gladiator has a big, huge bonus to parry, because that's what Gladiators do a lot. They want to prolong the battle. They want to dodge out of the way. They want to, make the other person look good and stab them when they're not looking. So then they give you a combat note here, which I don't understand why this is exactly here. Maybe it was one of those things that they added to clarify how the mechanics work of bonuses to weapon efficiencies and hitting, which it just seems like this is an odd spot to put it, because they don't I don't understand, really. I just don't understand why this combat here it doesn't really fit. I guess they're just going over the rules again because this is the first class and there's these bonuses, and they don't want people to be like, oh, so every level I'm adding this plus bonus, when it's just like, no, it goes from a 3 to a 4, not 3 plus 4 equals 7. Then it goes on and gives you a little bit of information about how you're a trained exhibitionist of combat for entertainment. Unlike other men arms, they're trained to prolong an encounter by toying with an opponent, dodging, parrying, and delivering small superficial wounds. Eventually, this will lead to a disabling serious blow until the opponent yields, collapses, or is slain. Consequently, Gladiator School's training creates a very specific type of warrior skilled in weapons, combat techniques, and showmanship. Reading all this information here makes me think that there should be some type of skill ability that this class could have had that they did not add in, such as maybe targeting weak spots on a foe. Maybe during battle you have a percentage chance to roll and analyze. Maybe after a couple rounds of fighting, I would definitely add this as a GM. Couple rounds of fighting, you get to analyze your opponent for your turn, and you just take a defensive stance, and you decide, all right, this guy's fighting style is like this. He usually leans to the left. That means his right is open or something like that. And maybe you get a bonus to hit with the success. I'm just explaining it, but overall, you roll, you get under the percentage. The GM will determine how much of a bonus you would get based upon the roll. I think that'd be kind of a cool mechanic to add to this class. Like I said, this class would be really interesting to add to a campaign. I've never had anybody play it. Nobody was ever interested in this class. It was kind of one of those things that people just went, Gladiator, cool. I remember that movie. That was about it. And I don't know. That's all I can say about Gladiator. Tell me how you've used it in your campaign. Have you modified this class at all? Have players come to you and added spice to this class? How did it work in your campaign? I'm really interested to know. Leave a comment below letting me know. Don't forget to like the video. Check out all the other videos on the channel. Classic Phase Rip Podcast if you're interested in Marvel superheroes game from the 80s and 90s. Check out that. That podcast is back every 2 weeks. It'll be here right here on my channel. I usually release it on the weekends or possibly on Monday, depending on when we record it. With that said, I'm going to say keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.